Hi, and welcome to the podcast. My name's Jamie, and this is The Best Magicians You Have Never Heard of, an interview series brought to you by Sleightly Matchett. Our guest today is a magician mentalist. He's done magic for countless celebs, universities, and various USA and NBC networks. Please welcome Remy Connor. Thanks for being on the show. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic. Raining here in Florida. But,
Is it? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Here. It's 87 degrees and sunny. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into magic really quickly. But what I really want to know is what specific passion you have in magic.
So I think I have the same story as every other magician when they got started. I was the kid, 13 years old, looking for a way to make friends and not be the weird, awkward kid that nobody wanted to talk to. I started performing. I was practicing actually at my parents' friends' like 40th work anniversary thing, and a very, very drunk guy was sitting next to me, watched me practice for 20 minutes, and tipped me $40. 13 years old, I made $40 in 20 minutes, and I thought I'd never have to work again. I immediately started performing in restaurants, and I've literally been performing ever since I started. So that for me has been the passion. But getting into the passion of performing so quickly into magic and not really getting into like the technical sleight of hand stuff, it drove me to the thing that I truly love about magic, and that's the storytelling aspect of it. Just the ability to weave literally any story you want to weave and then make it a reality that people actually have a tangible evidence for, something they've physically seen that they should not have been able to see. That, for me, was the draw to it, the ability to just change somebody's day. The more and more people that you can change, the better the magic was.
And when you see them get into it like that, you can tell you've got them focused.
Yeah.
And a good storyteller could do that.
Absolutely.
So is that what really drives you? Is the storytelling, or is it the reactions?
I think that's the biggest part. Yeah. I really do believe that the story is what makes the difference. When you really boil it down, every magician does the same 10 tricks. I mean, we all do. It was discussed in so many books, but we all do literally the exact same tricks. It's to make something vanish, appear, change places, transform. You can levitate something and then suspend something and possibly tear something apart and possibly put it back together. Mentalism seems to be its own whole little field. And the favorite, I think, is the odd item, right? The impossible object.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if we're all going to do the same 10 tricks, then I think the most important part is, what are you vanishing and why?
That's a very good point. Exactly.
That's where the story is. Every magician can make a quarter vanish, but why are you making a quarter vanish?
Exactly.
And then on top of it, do you really want to say the same thing as everybody else? Money comes, money goes.
That's exactly true. So I noticed when you were telling me about this, I was looking at your tattoos there. So you have some new ones. Why don't you tell us a little bit about those?
Oh yeah, this is the most recent.
The magic
wand.
Finally
got a magic wand.
Right on.
Yeah, finally got. I gotta tell you, ever since I got the magic wand, I have just been pointing at things. Which kind of, of course, you have to have your own magic wand as a magician, right? Which is why. Oh, here, check this out.
I love the idea. When you first told me about it, I thought it was great. So let's talk about, you got something you can do a demonstration of, some storytelling for us?
Absolutely. See that? So if you were a magician, you would come out, and I've noticed that this happens often, where a magician will ask you to pick out a card, or they'll say that this card in particular represents something, whether it represents somebody going to eat something, or if you pull out the two jokers, they'll say that, oh, it's two locator cards that will find something.
Okay.
And again, it bothered me because, as I said before, every magician does the same tricks. So when you look at a card and you see like, oh, that's the ace of spades, and you say, imagine that that's a person that's going to travel. Why would you say that? Instead, we magicians have this thing, which is these cards, with nothing written on them. And I think that would be the best way to go. Let me explain why. I have here this book. It's the thing that I've been working on during the quarantine, trying to develop it. I finally talked to a tattoo artist who's designing something for me on the face of it. But it's the idea that the audience gets to choose whatever story they want, right? I have some cards drawn up, like, let's see. Right here, we have a teapot, right? Just as a little MacGuffin, if you will. But here's the interesting two that I've been working with. Yeah, two characters. Now, this is just going to be a simple sandwich effect, but hopefully you'll enjoy what we have. Let's say we have this pack of cards. This pack of cards can be anything you want. You allow somebody to pick a card, and you ask them to draw something on it. Whatever it is that they want to draw, they're not hiding it. In fact, it turns out that this person is a new artist in town. Of course, this would be your spectator. All right, they get to draw whatever it is that they want. If they want, they can sign it. We'll happen to sign this Picasso because, you know, why not?
What is that?
It is a phallic bird.
A phallic bird. Okay.
So true story. Picasso he was actually famous before he died, which meant that he could make money off of his paintings. He would go out drinking in bars, and at the end of the night, when he'd have his tab, he would just draw something on a napkin, sign it, and give it to the bar.
Perfect.
So let's say you have a new artist in town, and this deck of cards would represent the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And you had your new piece of artwork on display for everyone to see. At the end of the night, they lock it up. But what you didn't know were two thieves were watching the place, two thieves. Each obviously with their money sack trying to steal something. They happen to case the joint. And they search, and they search, and they search, and they make it out the other side with one bit of artwork missing straight from the Met. Now, these were unique thieves. See, they weren't doing it for the money. They were solely doing it for the thrill. So they return the piece of artwork where he then moves to another museum. In the new museum, they put it on display, and these two thieves come through in the middle of the night. Again, nothing else in between them. One bit of artwork, yours. Of course, they return the painting one more time. Actually, put that right about there so you can see it. And now people knew who they were. They knew the thieves, so they knew that they could come in. They weren't allowed anywhere near the museum. But just like the wind, one of them gets away and steals the painting.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
That kicked ass.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thanks.
It took me on a journey.
That's an idea of something I've been working on. It's a little bit more of the fun side. You know, you get the audience to play around with drawing their own, drawing, I guess. And, you get to turn them into an artist, and they get to have a lot of fun with it because you get to ask them for their art name or, whatever their artist's secret name is going to be and things like that. But I also think that it pulls you more into the story rather than if these were just two jokers and you had chose ace of diamonds and drew something on it.
Absolutely. That's building on just an ordinary sandwich effect and making it something through a story.
Exactly.
That was fantastic.
Which leads me into, I'm actually working on a book right now. They say I'm working on a book right now. It's been like 3 years. I feel like Eric Mead working on his Tim Conover book. But as I've been writing this, there's a whole chapter on blank playing cards.
Okay.
Because I think that blank playing cards will be the best thing that card magicians can do. And I have a lot of theories as to why. One of them is that magicians can have weird things.
Yes.
We are absolutely allowed to have a strange object. So when we show up with a deck of cards and we say, hey, look, there's nothing written on them, that's an acceptable thing for the audience to believe that we have. But the nice thing about this one is that it doesn't seem gimmicked. It seems unfinished to an audience.
Yeah.
Right? So how could you have gimmicked something if it wasn't even finished to begin with? And there, I think, is where you can make some truly beautiful magic. Because now instead of having somebody pick a card, you can have them write down an addiction of theirs that they're trying to get rid of. They can write down the name of somebody that they care about, a place that they want to travel to. They can draw a dream of theirs without having to focus on an ace of diamonds.
Yes. And then you also get them to tell part of the story. So it's different all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The story always is changing, and people can watch the same show multiple times.
You remember those books when we were kids, when you got to choose what was going to happen and go to page 34 to continue this storyline?
Choose your own adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So is there any of that you can give us some insight into or show us a little bit?
You know, I have no problem going over the entire sandwich effect.
Sure. Let's take a look at it.
The entire thing, to me, is a good combination of both storytelling and blocking. There's a lot of movements in there that have to make sense.
Yeah. I thought it looked great, and I think the viewers are going to want to learn that.
Well, thanks. It's actually going to be in the book. Let me get that card that fell. There we are. Boom. All right. So it's none of the moves are too difficult. Everything in here is pretty easy to get through, and I expect a lot of the advanced users probably already figured out a bunch of the moves in here. But we'll start from the beginning. So one of the things that I like is saying it's in the middle of the Met, because if it's in the middle of the Met, it makes sense for it to be in the middle of the pack.
Right.
Right, so that's first. However you want to get that card controlled to the center, you can do, oh God, I forget what this add-on is called. Oh my God, I forgot the name. The move goes like this. You would have your card in the middle of the pack. You would turn it face down. And when you share it to the audience, you have the other card, you have the second card behind it. Right? So you want to make sure you know where those are. The nice thing about the blank deck, though, is that everything kind of blends together. So it's pretty hard for the audience to tell the difference. You're going to come up and take your card and the card behind it. Right? So now you're in this situation, right, where you have a card actually above theirs. Tap it in, and you tell them you're going to place it into the middle of the Met. Now, in the original performance on this, I did just a simple double lift, put it into the middle, but this is usually one of the ways I'll do it live.
Yeah, I'll use a pinky break on the bottom and take one card.
With
a swing cut.
Yeah, there's tons of ways that you can get into this position, but what you really need is their card on top or the bottom. I'll show 2 ways that you can do this. And one of the things that I like to do is just drop the 2 cards onto it, because I'm going to gesture to them. Maybe I leave them with the marker and I ask them for the marker back, but you want to have a reason to need this hand empty, right? So this is my pup saying hello. Hi.
Hi, puppy. I locked mine out.
I need you to go lay down. Thank you. Do you want to pause on that one?
Nope.
Okay. So you drop the 2 down, grab your marker back. You're going to either set it to the side, put it in your pocket, whatever it might be. You're going to get a pinky break below the top card. I peel off all 3 as I peel off the top card at the same time. So now you have the card secretly loaded in between the 2 jokers, but they think their card is sticking out of the middle of the pack.
Beautiful.
All right. You can take this, you can set it down because all attention is actually there. There's nothing on these cards at the moment because now you get to introduce what they are going to do. First, you've introduced our thieves. Now you get to say what they're going to do. They're going to go in like the knight and steal 1 card. This is a thing that I'll do here is I slide the top card over so that the middle card is over on the side. I don't know why I do it like that. I think in a moment it makes more sense.
It looks
so you
nice.
get to flip it over, and now they see the card, right? All heat is off of this. While they're looking there, they're having their moment. You get a pinky break above the top card. And FYI, this all will work with a regular pack as well if it's not blank. It'll all work exactly the same with the regular pack. Everything is copacetic.
That's good to know.
All right, so they look here. They're looking at that card. You're good. You steal a random and different card behind your thief, right? Card goes into the middle of the pack, like so, and you share it with them. And when I come back, I do the Kelly control. I have 2 versions of it. The Kelly control, I remember I learned it from Apollo Robbins in Cultural Exchange. So you can do a straight Kelly, which should look like this. Use your fingers to pop the card out, but you're going to do that as you bring the top packet on top. And what that does is it allows for the bottom card, the one that you Kelly'd out, to go onto the bottom.
That's nice.
Now, one thing that I started doing was something called a celly. I think I invented that one. It's called it's a side Kelly. You can use your ring finger to steal the card from the side and load it this way. So it's still on the bottom.
Yep. That's usually how I like to do it.
Excuse me?
I said that's usually how I like to do it.
It's great. And one of the nice things about that, too, is that you can actually load it second from the bottom if you get a little bubble break.
Yeah, little buckle.
Yeah, the little buckle goes right into the second, too.
That's so nice.
Thanks. But no matter what, you need to get the card onto the bottom of the pack. So you get it onto the bottom, and so when you come over, your hand is in the perfect position to hold it in biddle grip as your hand turns over the pack because you need that bottom card ready for a scoop switch.
Okay.
Your hand is now empty. You can focus all attention on the thieves, right? And you say, these thieves, they knew what they were doing. They returned it, and now they tried to steal it again, make their jobs harder. But nobody saw them as they came in. And that wave, when you do that, you're just going to barely hit that top card, and it slides out of the way. It's a shocking moment.
Very nice
Everybody
touch.
pauses when they see it. Now, this is important. You grab both cards with the right hand as you show the back, which gives you the perfect excuse to do your scoop switch. Now, your scoop switch is similar to like the ego change from Danny Garcia. You peel the card kind of off, similar to the celly, slide underneath, and as you turn over, you want to push that card out so it looks like it never actually squared up with the pack. All right.
Now, do you have a tip when you have the cards there and you're about to get ready? Do you have a special way to hold the deck when you grab it from biddle grip? Does it have to be behind your hands? Does your index finger have to be in the top corner or anything like that? Like
I try to do everything straight from mechanics.
Okay.
Mainly because that's the way that you're going. I feel like that's the most natural that your hand is going to be.
Okay.
So, because you're really just going to be turning over, boom, from here to here.
Right.
The only thing that I would say is try to make sure that the card clears your thumb. I found that that really does help. So when you turn it over, once it clears the thumb, you should be pretty safe in getting it. Also, you want to kind of dig the card into the table.
Right.
If you're using a padded table,
Right.
it's much easier. But I'd like to do that whole section just at speed, so this way people can see it.
Yep, go ahead.
So, boom. Let's see, we're in this position, right? So we're here, here, nothing. Right? Nothing in between our thieves, like this.
So beautiful.
Thanks. And then your next step, you don't have to do this with a blank pack. With a regular pack, you have to turn this pack over. Okay, so if you had a regular deck, you have to turn the deck over in your hand. You have a double blank deck, you're always going to be good to go.
Okay.
So that boom, they saw it, they see the card, the moment's over, nobody's looking as you scoop switch again. And because it looks exactly the same as before, nobody's really looking at anything. It's not even a moment.
It looks so natural.
I drop the two thieves on top as I move our card to the side, right? So it's kind of the idea of this. I'm going to move that card. I can't move it because there's something in my hand. I drop them off as I move that over there. I pick up the entire packet, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So entire packet, 1, 2, 3. You can set the deck down. Peel off one, you have your double. That goes down. And it's important where you set it down. You're going to set it stepped away from you, right? So the double is on the far side of the card, right? And that'll make sense in a moment. You pick up their indifferent card, it's just any card. You can do your tent vanish, however you want to vanish the card. And you're going to turn the hand over. And I imagine that the hand is pointing straight at this corner. All right?
Okay.
Move that down just a little bit. You want it to be pointed straight at this corner because you're going to blow into your hand, right? There should be like this little dip here. When you blow into the hand, the air is going to hit here, which is going to hit the two cards and separate them.
That's brilliant.
That.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
If you do it in somebody's hand, it looks ridiculous.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you if you could do it in somebody's hands. That's awesome.
Something about the padding of the hand, what'll happen is as the cards fly out, it goes boom and just sticks right to it. It looks like the card just appears right there.
And you don't have a problem with the double separating in their hand?
Usually not. I will admit that these cards have been I've used them quite a bit, so they're a little older. So it's harder for them to separate, or so it's easier for them to separate.
Right.
But there's actually a few techniques to make sure that a double in a standard pack without a bend won't separate prematurely. You can squeeze the air out by rubbing your thumb from corner to corner. And your double will stay pretty nicely as long as you get the air out of the cards. And yeah, at that point, like literally at this point, you're done, right? The cards separate and you can back off. They can turn the card over if they want. You can turn it over, right? It's entirely up to you, however you want to end that. And the nice thing is that they get to keep the card.
Yeah.
All right, so now that I've gone over every move individually, I think we should just do it at speed quickly.
Yeah, go ahead. Show us how it's done.
So we are here. Let's see. We have a new artist in town. You've signed, you've drawn, you've signed your name to it. And we put you on display in the middle of the Met for everyone to see. At the end of the night, the Met closes and they lock you away into the center with everybody able to watch. What they didn't know is these two thieves were searching through the pack, the entirety of them. After it was locked away in the middle of the night, the thieves come rushing through so quickly, so smoothly, you've never even seen.
So good.
One card, your painting. Now, these thieves, I got to tell you, they were not in it for the money. They were in it just to be able to prove that they could do it. So they returned the painting, and the artist took it to a new gala, a new venue, somewhere that they didn't think the thieves were, but they were watching. Because as they were watching, they were able to come in and steal the painting. Nothing else, just your painting. They return it second time. They locked it away. They put their faces on the walls. They never wanted to see these thieves again. They had security all around the place. They weren't allowed anywhere near it. But like the wind, they get in. They steal one card.
Okay.
And that card is your painting.
Beautiful. Love it. It looks so good. So when it comes to storytelling, if the viewers wanted to educate themselves and learn about storytelling, what are some resources that they could look for?
Script writing classes.
Yeah.
So a big one I would say is watch your favorite movies. Find your favorite movies and figure out the flow of their story. How did they get from point A to point B to point C? Christopher Nolan follows the exact same pattern. Well, I haven't seen his two most recent movies, Interstellar and 1918, I think, or whichever the war epic was. But prior to that, every movie followed the exact same format.
Mm-hmm.
Within the first 6 minutes, you'll meet every character. Within the first, I think it's 12 minutes, you figure out who the hero is and what his flaws are.
Mm-hmm.
And within the first 20 minutes, you meet the B story, so your love story. And then I think at 20 minutes also is where, or sorry, about 20 minutes is where you get the second story of the entire movie, right? So that's Act 2.
Right.
And then the last few minutes are Act 3. And the trailer of the movie is usually taken completely out of Act 2. So he has this nice little pattern that he hits every time. And the reason that he does that is for the flow of the story.
Make sure you guys pay attention to that. Hit rewind and watch that again. That's good advice. And you're absolutely right. And movies are a good way. As you can see, I like Back to the Future. One of my favorites.
You know, I saw the Back to the Future movies for the first time 5 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I had to tell myself, like, remember, these came out in the 80s. And I loved them. I loved all of them as I saw them.
So what type of magic do you do for your shows, and how can people get in contact with you?
So the magic in my shows are they're all stories from my life.
Mm-hmm.
Every part of it is something that has actually happened to me in some way, shape, or form, whether it's, I mean, obviously not the exact magical parts of it, but it's the lessons that I have learned and then trying to portray that to the audience.
And are they stage shows or close-up shows, parlor?
All
of them?
All of the above. The way I wrote my show is to be able to translate it from stage to close-up. The props just kind of change a little.
And
so whenever I'm doing close-up stuff, it's more card-related because it's just easier to have them draw the things onto the card. Stage just kind of gets bigger.
And what about kids? Do you do kid shows or?
I will do family shows.
You'll do family shows.
Family shows. I don't mind if there are kids in the audience. We just need some adults too.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have a hard time with kids. They know they're too smart. They have common sense.
You know, I've discovered they believe in magic. So my job's done. Like I walk in, I'm like, oh, you believe. All right, have a good one.
Yeah, I did my job.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's great. So do you have a website?
I do. You can check out www.remyconnor.com.
I will put it in the video. Just click the link.
I try to make it pretty simple, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier than that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, okay. You know who I am. You can find me.
So at the end of every show, I would like our guest to nominate somebody else to be on this show of the best magicians that you've never heard of. Any suggestions?
I have. When we first talked about this, I started thinking, who would I recommend? And I ran through a bunch of names, and think the best guy that I would recommend to check out is a man named Antino Art. Find him on Facebook that way. He started the House of Flying Cards at University of Florida when he was 18. And he's weird. Not weird like normal magician weird. He's weird like he believes he's living in an RPG video game.
Jeez.
And it's phenomenal to watch him perform because his sleight of hand is on point. It's all good. But he does it to slam poetry. He does his own version of recap that he calls free cap. And it's all about the idea of not stifling your creativity with the cap of the pen.
Really?
It's phenomenal.
Okay, that's awesome, Remy. I mean, thank you for being here. You're my second guest. This is only the second time I've done this.
And you're great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I just wanted to bring a little bit of variety to other magicians. Some guys that have passions in different things, and give everybody a chance to see that collage that magic is. So, I mean, you were fantastic and entertaining. That was great. I love the trick you did there.
Thank you.
It was really nice. And your story, the way you told that story is perfect. So thanks for being on the show. And I want to thank everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this and got value out of this, please hit like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week.